Good morning, everybody. What a beautiful Friday morning. Initially, I wasn't even going to come in this morning, but as I got up and got some things going, there's just a couple things that I would like to address to the community in general. First, what a great 4th of July celebration. I hope many of you came over and participated with the parade that happened in Old Town Pocatello. That was a lot of fun. I saw a lot of you there, so I know a lot of you were there. It was good, and it's just good for us to get together as a community and celebrate these kinds of things. If you saw my post yesterday, you know my personal feelings about it. We have many in the past who have dedicated and sacrificed so much that we can have this great land that we live in. Now, do we have some problems and challenges in our land? We do. And we need to find within ourselves that same kind of a patriotic feeling and be able to do the things that they did to make sure that we hand to our children and grandchildren the freedoms and the joys and the blessings that we enjoy in this land. And days like yesterday were an opportunity and a blessing for us to be able to celebrate those kinds of things and reconsider and recommit ourselves to the cause of liberty and freedom. I had an interesting experience. My son is visiting from Orlando, Florida. And as you all know, we had a little bit of I don't know you'd necessarily call it chilly. In the evening it did get chilly for the 4th of July. And we were noticing that the high in the Pocatello-Chubbuck area yesterday was actually lower than the low in Orlando, Florida. So they were glad to be here with us until it got a little cold that night. And I think we were going to freeze these kids. But what a beautiful area we live in, and we're going to go back up into the 80s today, and by mid next week we're going to be in the 90s. So if you don't like the weather around here, just stick around for a couple minutes. It's bound to change. I also wanted to talk to you just a little bit about some of the tax issues. We have posted that we're going to spend some time on the 18th in the afternoon. For any of you who'd like to come in and that we kind of explain some of the things that as we understand it, and particularly how it will affect you with your City of Chubbuck taxes. And I thought I'd just go ahead and talk to you just about that kind of generally now, maybe answer those questions and save some of you from having to come in that afternoon. You know, it is a bit of a complicated issue, but it really isn't as complicated as some have made it be. Let me explain to you from the City of Chubbuck side of it exactly what it means. We have a budget from last year that's absolutely set in stone. That's the budget that we functioned on during this year, and that budget year will end in September, and a new budget year will start up in October. That budget number, the dollars that were in that budget, by state law, we are capped at 3% of that budget. That's the most, the absolute most that the City of Chubbuck can take in new taxes. And that figures to be right around $169,000 to $170,000. And that's if we took everything that we can by law. We are in the process now of budgeting and determining what we do need to take to make sure we're taking care of the needs of this city. But the thing that I want you to remember by that, I had that sticker shock too when I opened my assessment and saw that it increased by the number that it had. And then I started thinking about what that means. Folks, one of the things that we have been accused of in the Bannock County for many years is having the highest tax levy in the state. We do, and that's related to our valuations that come from the assessment. And we have been undervalued. I can tell you that. I know. I sold real estate a number of years ago, and you'd think that as a real estate agent, when I'm trying to find comparables, when somebody wants to sell their home, I should be able to find similar homes and maybe go to the county and look at the assessment, see what they're assessed. Those have been low for many, many years. The effect that's had is it's kept our levy high, because the way the levy is set, the 7 taxing authorities, actually it's 6, the 6 taxing authorities for Bannock County submit their taxes, their budgets, they submit their budgets to Bannock County. Bannock County has now done the assessments, and they've done that for years. And what they do is take those budget numbers and plug that in to the assessed values, and that sets the levy. So folks, our levy is going to come down. That should have an effect of lowering taxes. It doesn't always. As a matter of fact, if you think about it, budgets for a city are very similar to budgets that we have in our own homes. And very few of us don't have to find a way to increase our budgets from year to year because of inflation and things that happen in our lives. And that's the same way that a city functions. And so I want you to rest at ease a little bit to this idea that your taxes are going to go up at the same percentage and rate that your valuation went up. That's just absolutely not true. It's not even legally possible. Are our taxes going to go up? I believe they will. I don't believe that it's going to be an amount that's much larger than it has ever been. With some of the valuations that have increased to the degree they have, it may go up a little bit more than normal. But again, I think if we let this play out, and by far and away, one of the things that I have heard that I totally agree with, if you feel like your evaluation is really just way out there and way out of sight, absolutely you should appeal that. You should go in and find out why that is and why it would be. But evaluations that went up between the 25 and 30% range, they're probably right in there with the amount that we have been undervalued in the past, the fact that there's been an inflationary bubble that we've been put in because of the fact there aren't very many homes on the market in our area, and therefore valuations have been inflated. They've gone up. And so again, hopefully the market can correct itself, and again, we do need to hold those who are in authority and place, we need to hold them accountable, and if valuations on the market drop, we should expect our valuations also to drop. But I hope that overall we'll see that our taxes really are going to stay about the way they've been in the past. They really aren't going to be that much different. But the blessing that this has the potential of having is dropping our tax levy, making that tax levy number come down. And so I hope that explains it some to you. If you still have questions, we're sure willing to have you come in and talk to us on the afternoon of the 18th. And hopefully we can talk about some specifics with your particular properties. But if you'll just think of those principles that I just told you about and plug them in, that probably will answer most of your questions. But I suppose technically the questions won't be answered completely, and our answer won't come completely until we get our tax notice in November and figure out exactly what that is. So again, folks, sure do appreciate you. We live in such a beautiful area, and it concerns me when I see people who are upset and concerned, and I get that, but let's make sure we don't let anger come into the issue. There's no reason for any of us to be angry, and together let's work on making sure we get it right. I just am grateful to be part of this community and part of the good things that go on around here, and just wonderful to celebrate this beautiful season of liberty and freedom with you, and hope you have a great week, and we'll see you again next week. Thanks.